So it is a beautiful Wednesday evening. Got done with a bunch of stuff at the property today. I wish we could do more, but we're doing as much and getting as much done as we can. But a few things we want to discuss today. Certainly the economy, the collapse continues. One thing I do want to start this video out with is been a lot of comments about my dogs coming here, living here, and the gators in the pond. I want to assure everybody this whole patio is completely fenced in for the little dogs, and we're going to have a separate fencing area out front. They will never be near this water. This is as close as they would get, but this is elevated above the water. It's all fenced in. Absolutely nothing can happen. But their area in the grass will be in the front of the house, completely safe, secure, fenced in. So they will be very, very safe. So I'm not delusional. I know that gators eat dogs, but they will never, ever be in this water or near this water. So I want to assure everybody that we know the risk. And so we will take every precaution necessary to make sure nothing happens. And of course, if anything comes onto the property, breaches this area, it's fair game. So it's not going to last very long. Now that that's been said, without further ado, let's get into some of what's happening in the U.S. economy. Economiccollapse.com. Reading this article today, 78% of HR leaders in the U.S. are conducting serial layoffs, and we are being warned that a major cost of living shock is coming. What does this mean, Enrique?
Well, it means that there's a lot of people that unfortunately are going to be losing their jobs soon. You don't know, especially if you are an employee. So right now is a good time to start preparing. It's never too late because if you are laid off, unfortunately, you're going to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, then you can't depend on your neighbors, because nowadays everybody's segregated.
Yep.
It's not like it was before, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Nowadays, it's each their own.
Yep.
So if you're not ready, bad things could happen to you, and you could fall into bad times. And those are the things that when you're vulnerable like that, you make bad decisions.
Is the cost of living shock coming, or is it here, Aaron?
I think both.
Yeah,
I think it's
agreed.
going to continue to get worse, and then this is just going to be a snowball effect. So all these people own homes, or a great amount of them probably own homes. So if they lose a job, what happens with that home? Is that more homes that are foreclosure, for sale? It's going to affect more than just that.
The article goes on to say 40% of your large employers are conducting layoffs every quarter. You have major economic crisis in your country. Right now, Enrique, do we have a major economic crisis taking place in America?
Oh, yeah. And, it's a slow bleed, which means that this has been going on for many, many years, especially after 2008. Things have not completely recovered. I feel like the government has just put Band-Aids on a lot of things. And so even as of 2025, there's still lingering effects from all of that. And eventually we're going to have even tougher times. So you have to be prepared, because I don't think the worst has been here yet. I think we're going to experience worse things than this previous, ever since 2008. I don't think you've seen the worst yet.
Are we in an economic crisis right now?
Oh, absolutely. So I agree with Enrique. So it probably started 07, 08. They did all the QE 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, non QE and Operation Twist. And all they've done is just print trillions and trillions of dollars. That's where all this inflation's coming. Then you get to 2019, 2021. We know what happened there. They printed $6 trillion there. And so all these dollars have to go somewhere. That's where all this inflation is going. You've got countries that are dumping the dollar, dumping the treasuries. All those dollars are coming back to our shores, and I think we're in something that's worse than the Great Depression.
How far are we into this right now? 9 innings?
Okay,
One
so
inning?
9 innings.
1 to 9.
I'd probably say 3, 4, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say we're right there. Agreed. Goes on to say, Monday, a 50% tariff on steel and aluminum will start being applied to 407 categories of goods. So you're being warned right now that prices of goods are about to go up even more. Beef this year is up 11.7% this past July compared to last July. And when you go to a butcher, you go to a store, there's no doubt beef is absolutely skyrocketing. Any thoughts on beef prices? I know that we've had a lot of droughts. You have
Right.
labor costs, transportation costs, all that. Beef prices coming down anytime soon?
No, I doubt it. So I think it was not last year, maybe the year before. I don't know. I know we had a horrible drought, and I know it was Texas, Oklahoma, and cattle ranchers were just dumping whatever they couldn't afford to feed. I actually thought about selling off all mine. It got so bad, but yes, from what I understand, I'm going to sell some calves at the end of the year. But from all my buddies selling calves, they're getting so much money for the calves, way more than they've ever gotten in history. They're telling me it's insane.
We didn't get to see the Fed minutes today, but just a couple minutes, I want to talk about this. CNBC, divided Fed worried about tariffs and labor market minutes show. They emphasize the upside risk to inflation and downside risk to employment. And then they kind of went on to talk about or discuss that they're worried about the labor market. They're worried about inflation. Should we be worried? Should the Fed be worried about the risk of more inflation, obviously with the tariffs adding to that, and also the labor market? I kind of got mixed signals in the article that some of them aren't worried about the labor market, some of them are worried about the labor market. Should we be worried about both, or should we just be worried about inflation? What do you think, Enrique?
I think we should be worried about both.
Yeah.
You know, right now we are experiencing more inflation, and it looks like the current administration is moving into boosting that inflation. So there's a high probability that within the next year, there's going to be actions taken that are probably going to move everything even higher.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think that you've seen the worst in inflation, I really do think that there should be another push up in prices on certain goods.
Most agreed that it was too soon. Most of the Fed members agreed it was too soon to lower rates. Do you agree with that?
Too soon to lower rates.
Yeah.
Well, they should be raising rates, but
Yeah.
we know, let's be real, the easiest thing is to print money. And what's sad is majority of Americans, I don't even think realize what's going on. They don't know where this inflation's coming from. You know, maybe they kind of have an idea, but every country that's ever gone bankrupt that's in this situation, they've chose to print.
Yeah.
Because it's much easier to print instead of having to be the bad guy and tell everyone, hey, we got to cut back, we got to come back entitlements, cut back spending, we got to collect more taxes. Like, none of those things are popular. And so it's either print or bring on a lot of pain that they don't want to do.
Yep.
So they're going to choose the easy route, which is print.
Which will be catastrophic at the end.
Right. So, yeah, well, it'll be the end of the dollar.
Yeah.
But it's the inflation. The Fed is stuck between either heating up inflation or killing the labor market. So either way they go, it's not going to be good.
Or killing the dollar.
Yeah.
This was the first time that multiple Fed governors voted against a rate decision in more than 30 years. Very interesting. Now, if inflation stays persistent, I don't know. You may not see rate cuts this year. I mean, we're now going into September. A lot of people predicted that we would get a cut in September. I don't know. I think it's 50-50 right now. But so far, the Fed has been really holding to its guns here about not cutting rates. And I think they're very worried. I think Jerome Powell does not want to go down in the history books as the guy who just caved to the administration and cut rates, then all of a sudden has runaway inflation. They already said it was transitory. They made a big mistake there. I don't think he feels comfortable about making a second mistake. But they do know, they have to know that no matter what the data says, the labor market's in trouble. They know that inflation's not going down. And they know that tariffs will add some amount or some degree more inflation than what we have right now. And I think they're concerned about that to a degree. Enrique.
No, I really do think that they have to be very, very careful. And I feel like any little wrong move, it's going to make everything worse.
Yep.
And so I know that right now, like JB has mentioned, they must be really worried because they know that the options, they're dwindling to be able to save this economy. And it's getting tougher and tougher as the years go by to be able to reverse this.
Yep.
And as we go further in, we're just digging ourselves into a deeper hole.
Yep, a deep grave for sure.
Mhm.
And you know, today, as we make this video, gold up $40. It's over $3,361. Silver was silver last you checked.
I think it was up 50 cents. It was just under 38 an ounce.
All right, I got it at 38.08 an ounce.
Okay, maybe it moved since I looked at it.
So I think that that's telling us something right there. Follow the gold and silver market. It is definitely trying to warn us of something. And if you don't have any gold or silver, or if you do and you need a reputable, reliable place, go to my link down below, SD Bullion. Great people. I think that it seems like almost every week I make these videos, it becomes more important, more imperative to be owning these things. And, you know, of course, years ago, people said it was going to, you know, gold was going to 800, silver was going to $8. These people have been completely wrong. All you have to do is continue to follow the debt, the deficits, and the inflation. And to me, it's a no-brainer. What else do you buy other than gold and silver right now? So if you need help with that, SD Bullion, link down below. I don't care where you buy it from. I just think that you need to own this to protect your wealth. This is not financial advice. I don't do that, but I'm sharing with you what I'm doing, what this guy's doing, what this guy's doing. So if you need a reputable place, link down below. Switching gears here, or shifting gears, the second largest homeowner in the Las Vegas Valley, Dallas-based, Invitation Homes, owns 3,397 Las Vegas Valley homes. Also, New York based Progress Residential. They own 4,500 homes in the Vegas area. And these large entities that buy these homes and then rent them or lease them to people have really been taking advantage of people in a couple of different ways. They've mistreated people in the name of greed. Invitation reached a $48 million settlement with the FTC regarding allegations that it deceived renters about various types of fees association with leasing a house. So that's a problem right there, but you have all this institutional money coming in throughout the country. We've been watching this go on for years, and the average home buyer, especially the new home buyer, the young home buyer, they've had to compete with these behemoths on Wall Street. And they have pushed this bubble even bigger because they could come in and buy a home for, you know, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 over asking price, and you don't get to buy a house because you get bid out. Institutional money, in my opinion, I want to get your thoughts on this, should not be competing with the average retail investor, the first-time home buyer. I just think that this should be absolutely banned and outlawed because this causes bubbles. Buyers, the mom and pop buyer, first-time home buyer cannot compete with these entities. And just like we're reading in this article, the amount of corruption that comes with it when they own billions of dollars of real estate throughout the country and just in the Las Vegas area. Your thoughts? Should we be seeing Wall Street money, institutional money, competing against the average homeowner or home buyer in America?
Well, I mean, of course not, but that's not how it works. You know, all these entities are criminal organizations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this is what they want. They want a nation of renters, and this is what they're trying to do. They're going to say, what is that? That we're going to own nothing, be happy.
Yep.
So I think this is the direction that we're going, probably moving towards universal basic income. You know, all that stuff comes along with this. They're just trying to wipe out the middle class, and obviously the poor are already done.
Aaron, Enrique, what do you think about this?
I think the average person's being corralled in a certain environment. And a lot of it also has to do with the fact that even if you're a homeowner right now, how is it that they price you out? Property taxes and insurance.
Yep.
So even if you are able to purchase a home, good luck, because you better be earning really good money, or you better find a way to be able to pay for these rising costs every single year. So inflation with property taxes and insurance is pricing people out even further. Even current homeowners that have their mortgages completely paid off are still having a hard time making ends meet because they can no longer afford to maintain their properties. And so that also is something that is going to get people to eventually sell off their primary residences or their Airbnbs or secondary residences And who's going to snatch these things up? It's going to be the ultra wealthy and these corporations
Yeah.
or these large entities that are going to manipulate the housing market even further going forward.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. Going back to beef prices, MSN was talking about the cost of beef hitting all-time highs. Out here, I will say in Alabama, it's shocking how much cheaper the beef is, but I'm sure a couple years ago it was much cheaper here. It's a lot, probably for people in this economy compared to what it used to be a few years ago. Now in California, this is like a huge discount when you look at the prices here. I mean, we were looking at prime beef today at a private farm that has their own store. It sells their own beef from their own farm, and you could buy prime ribeyes for $28 a pound. And let me tell you, you're not going to get prime ribeyes from a private farm in California for $28 a pound. It's running about $40 to $45. So big difference there. But in this article on MSN, a woman said, we used to eat beef every day. Now we get 2 pounds and we make it last all week. Some people say they eat, meat once a week. They used to eat it 5, 6, 7 days a week. So they're cutting way back. Is beef now becoming a luxury, Aaron? You're from Texas. You know more about beef than anybody.
I think it eventually will be. That's one of the reasons why I have the property that I have, and I raise my own cattle. Because eventually I don't want to get priced out of beef. I want to be able to still eat that. But yeah, for the poor, beef is probably off the menu, and middle class maybe right behind that pretty soon.
Another question. I know you follow metals like every day closely. Is gold ready to explode? Because fear says yes.
I think so. I think it's consolidating, and once it starts moving, I think it's going to be off to the races.
And I want to ask everybody out there, what do you fear right now here in America? What do you fear? Do you fear losing a job? Do you fear not having enough food, enough money? Do you fear having too much debt? I want to know what most people out there fear, because I think there's a lot of people out there terrified now with what's happening. Do you fear about what world your kids are going to be living in? Do you fear that you're not going to have a retirement? You'll be working till you're 100? I really would love to know the answer to this question. What do you fear? Enrique, is there anything you fear right now with the U.S. economy?
You know, what I'm fearing is that eventually there's going to be some sort of superpower, whether it be Russia or China, and they're going to start dictating what we do.
Yeah.
And I think little by little, it's going to start ingraining in the U.S. Hopefully it doesn't, but I feel like we're already having tentacles within the U.S. economy from other countries. And this is a melting pot. So I know that there's a lot of influence from different countries. But as the U.S. dollar gets weaker or the government itself starts getting more desperate, the only way that we're going to be able to get ourselves out of this probably is other countries coming in. And the U.S. is eventually going to have to cede. And I really hope that doesn't happen because before you know it, we're going to lose everything that we have in America to other countries.
Yeah, we'll lose our identity. That's a great point, because you're seeing the selling off. The selling off of America has been taking place for years. You can just look at land sales, farm sales. For the last couple decades, China owns more land in America than any other country. And so you look at the real estate, commercial type real estate, hotels, resorts that China owns in this country. Your thoughts, Aaron?
About what I fear, or
just how much these countries own of America now.
Right.
And you think about the BRICS and the power that the BRICS nations has now, and the influence that Enrique was saying, the influence that the world now has, and the leverage that the world now has, like China has on America, because there is going to be no trade agreement with China unless China dictates the agreement, because China has too much leverage now and too much power.
Yeah, I constantly ask people, because I'm always talking gold and silver to everyone that I run into at work, friends, whatever, and I'll ask them about BRICS, and 95% of the people I ask about BRICS are clueless. So there's going to be a point where everyone knows what the BRICS are.
Yep.
And I think that's... honestly, though, I think they just want what's fair. They want fair trade and all that. Look at China. They haven't invaded a country in centuries. So I don't even know that China wants to take over or rule the world. I think they just want fair trade and to do what they do in their country.
Now, I would totally disagree. I do think China wants to take over the world. What the military exercises, the weaponry, the multiple attacks daily, the thousands of attacks, or cyber attacks on America, that our water systems, our banking systems, our health systems that are under attack every day. Our infrastructure is being attacked every day. All the backdoor technology on our grid. Now they are able to flip a switch. So I think they're setting themselves up for ruling the world. I pray to God that never happens, but you have to think about what they've been doing for many, many years, and all of the backdoor technology to our weapon systems, to our infrastructure, to our grid. It's unavoidable that something's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's the reason why right now there's not a lot of skilled labor. I feel like there's a lot of people from other countries that are very, very smart that at any point could cause some serious damage to the U.S. infrastructure.
Yep.
Especially people from Russia and China. There's a lot of very, very smart individuals. And I think that the U.S. government knows that.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the reasons why they are limiting the amount of people from outside of the U.S. to come into the U.S.
Yeah.
to be able to go to school here. I know for a fact that that's been happening lately, and I feel like they know that, so they're trying to avoid a lot of these people to gain knowledge of how the U.S. infrastructure
Yeah, we've
works.
literally been educating and training the world to take us over. Switching gears here, housing market cracks wide open. Top siding company suffers worst stock collapse in 50 years. James Hardie Industries, the world's largest producer of fiber cement products. They generate about 70% of the revenue right here in North America. Their biggest seller is a thing called Hardie Plank. It's their flagship product. It's a huge seller in the U.S. residential market. And it says here in this article that it's an alternative to wood and vinyl siding. Their quarterly profit dropped to $62.6 million from $155 million a year, so more than 50%. Shares were down pre-market this morning, down 30%. I don't know what it closed at, but that's huge. I will say this. I know that the administration, the Fed, is very worried about this housing market because, as we said last night, if you didn't see last night's video, please check it out. Most of Americans' wealth is in their home. And if something happens to the housing market, you're going to see wealth, and it's going to happen. You're going to see wealth vacuumed out of the average household in America that is already broke. The wealth will disappear very, very quickly. It's called equity. It goes up, it goes down. But when things begin to crash, equity in homes disappears. And how many people pulled money out of their homes, using their homes as an ATM, all these HELOCs. And then when they begin to lose all this equity on top of their second mortgage, they are screwed. But it is not Jerome Powell's job to support the housing market. And I know that this administration wants him to cut rates. They want to ignite the housing market again. It is not Jerome Powell's responsibility to keep the housing market propped up. Jerome Powell's responsibility is to protect the U.S. dollar. I don't know what he's going to do, but I think it's all in trouble. I think the U.S. dollar is in trouble. I think the housing market's in trouble. I think the stock market bubble will burst. It's going to be an enormous crisis. Aaron, your thoughts?
So when you were asking Enrique about what I fear, I think it's going to be one of these major banks, Bank of America, is going to go down. Everyone's going to rush to the banks. There's going to be a collapse in the bond market. That's going to be what takes everything down. And just imagine what these people are going to do when they can't pull any money out of the ATMs. They have a zero balance. Their 401k is now a 201k or doesn't exist. Their house is worth 50% of what they thought it was. It's going to be ugly. People are going to be pissed off.
Yep.
And but even if the Fed cuts rates by even 50 basis points, at this point, what is that really going to do?
Not much. Yeah. And it's really like what's going to fall first? What bubble pops first before all the bubbles pop? And we're not going to just see one bubble pop. We're going to see multiple bubbles pop. Enrique, anything you want to add to this?
I really do think that a lot of people's equity has already been evaporating because of inflation.
Yeah.
A lot of people right now are actually tapping into their homes because that's all they have. And if you talk to people right now, that are actually in this market, that they're the ones that are facilitating people to have access to that equity. I know that I've talked to people personally that work in this market, the lending market, and they're having very, very good time right now because a lot of people are tapping into that equity.
Yeah.
And so little by little, it's all evaporating because of inflation, and it's all going towards monthly expenses or paying down unsecured debt.
So they're putting their house at risk to pay the essentials, basically.
Oh yeah, it's happening.
So
It's
what
happening.
could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, it's happening. So we are seeing a similar path as what we saw last time in 2008. So it's just a matter of time for people to gasp for more air where maybe they don't have anywhere to run. Because a lot of people, when they do pay off unsecured debt, the first thing they do is they go and run it up again.
Yep, that's for
And
sure.
so most people do not have the discipline to completely get rid of their credit cards once it's all paid off using their home equity. So they run back into the same situation, maybe 6 months down the line or a year down the line. All it takes is multiple little emergencies and it just starts ballooning up. And before you know it, they're back in that same situation, but now their equity is vanished. So where do they go?
That's a great point. So basically, if the government gave people, I don't know, let's just say $5,000, what would they do with it? Well, they'd probably pay down some of their debt, and he's right. They would just start all over again and start spending all over again and running it right back up. Aaron, anything you want to close with?
Well, I mean, look what they did when all the stimmy checks came out. Instead of paying stuff off, people were buying the big screen TVs, going on vacations, buying homes because they had, a nice down payment. And so, Americans definitely have a spending problem.
They do.
Government and us.
Yep.
But what I would say is try and get out of debt, pay all that down. If you have some extra fiat that you want to put somewhere smart, I'm doing what the smart money is doing. Same with Jeremiah, same with Enrique. Gold, silver, it's what the central banks are doing. China, Russia, India, all of them are buying gold at the fastest pace in history. And the U.S. is also reshoring a bunch of gold.
Right, which we're not hearing anything about. And where is the Fort Knox audit? Whatever happened to the Fort Knox audit? Will it ever happen, Aaron?
I think so. I think they're keeping everything quiet. I think maybe someone came and, talked to the president, got in his ear and was like, hey, we need to get this gold back. And so they're trying to get all their ducks in a row. And I think there's going to be a huge, huge rug pull.
I'm going to leave it there tonight. These guys have been instrumental, been great help for getting things taken care of here at the new property. I know they'll all be back. Aaron and I will be back here in about probably 4 weeks on the move. If you have anything you want to say, put it in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to give this video a like. Share it all over your social media. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And again, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Anything you want to mention, put it down there. A wealth of information in the comments. They're incredible. Look, may not agree with all of them, but still, it's very important because it makes us think. So comment down below. Really appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening. God bless every one of you. Look forward to speaking to each and every one of you very, very soon. Take care.